Are you ready for the two brightest minds on the planet? Are you ready to join in deep conversation and get the answers to all things? Sit back and enjoy the Mike and Brian Show.
Mercy, mercy, we got a show for you today, yo. Brian! Brian!
Hi!
Hi, Brian. It's Mikael. It's Mikael. We're ready to do another show today, Brian.
All right!
Now, on this show, we're going to invite Mike and Brian, the two brightest minds on the planet, to come in and analyze an incredibly fantastic video from... Now, this man is a PhD in biology from MIT. If anybody knows what they're talking about, it's this man. Would you agree with me, Brian?
From what I heard now, this guy's smart.
He's smart. Now, let's put Mike on the phone. Go get Brian for me. Hey, Mike, come on over here. Hey, thanks, Mikael.
Brian, get over here, Brian.
You got Brian there?
Hey.
Hey, Brian?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, man.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, Dad, come on over here. I brought my dad with me today to do the show because we're going to do this video. Dad, you can sit over here. Come here. We're going to do this show. Incredible video from Dr. Shiva. So we know they're pulling a hoax on everybody. Let's hear what a PhD in biology from MIT has to say here.
All right.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. We're going to be starting shortly. And I think I'm live. Let me see. Okay, great. So I'm live. It's Friday the 13th. So welcome to Dr. Shiva Live. Many of you know I did a tweet about 3 days ago.
I'm just going to pause that. Now, I know, Brian, you want to maybe pause this here or there and analyze what he's talking about. So just, holler in and tell me when to pause it, all right?
Okay. I was trying to find you online myself.
Okay. Yeah, no, actually, you won't find the live. We're going to pre-record this show. This one's not live.
Okay. All righty.
So just tell me when you want me to pause this.
Sharing my concerns about the coronavirus. In particular, what I shared was that I think I'm going to have to start all over again because it looks like I'm having a network error. It's saying, can people see me? Yes, no? Can people tell me if they're seeing me all right online? Yes or no? Hello, everyone. I just want to do a check first. Hi, everyone. Can you see me okay? Sarah, if you're listening, I have Sarah who helps us out. Okay, good. All right. So what I want to really talk about today is a follow-up to a tweet I did, which went viral all over the internet. And what I shared was the president had essentially said that the news media was overhyping this thing. And I basically followed up with that. And I said, look, as a MIT PhD in biological engineering, a person who spent most of my scientific career really focused on health and really trying to understand systems. Some of you may know I have 4 degrees from MIT. My PhD is in the field of biological engineering, which is a new department MIT started in 2003. Plus I have 3 other degrees in engineering, in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and design. But beyond that, I've always had a deep interest in health, having grown up, some of you may know, in India, in a small farm where my grandmother practiced traditional systems of medicine. To the Western world, that may seem a little bit weird, but there have been other systems of medicine long before Western medicine that were based on looking at the body as a whole system. But anyway, I was very motivated as a young kid.
Okay.
Brian was just saying that he thinks this guy may be smarter than us.
Did you hear that, Mikael? Yeah, I heard what he said. He's probably right. I know. That guy might be smarter than us, Brian.
I think so.
to understand systems. That led me to, as my parents came here in 1970 to the United States, my deep interest in medicine. I was working as a full-time research fellow at Rutgers Medical School doing research on SIDS with computing, where I created the first email system, and that's a whole nother story. But the reality is I've had a deep interest in understanding the body of the system. The body is a system, meaning how the ankle bone's connected to the foot bone. So that's some background. So I tweeted out that based on my understanding as someone who literally spends probably every day studying the immune system, I have a company called Cytosolve. I run an educational institute called Systems Health, but we really educate people on the body as a system, but we do a lot of research and at the molecular level, and it's what I live and breathe. Many even scientific professionals who are advising the president, many even MDs and pediatricians, really don't have a deep understanding of the immune system. It's not that easy. It's a very complicated system. And in fact, the immune system that is taught in medical schools is a system of immunity that really goes back probably to 50 to 100 years. Most people in medical school training, they don't really have a full-scale understanding of the modern immune system. And what I want to emphasize to you is I want to share with you as much as what I've learned. In fact, less than 3-4 months ago, I was asked to give the invited distinguished lecture talk at the National Science Foundation at the Center for the Science of Information on the Immune System, which we're going to talk about. But mainly today, you're going to learn some science. I want to really focus on the real truth about the coronavirus, as I've shared. We want to talk about what you can do to help your own immunity, and really we need to have a discussion. I hope the president, if he's there, is listening to this, because I want to first of all express that everything he has done has been the right thing, in terms of the basics of closing the borders, and even though he was criticized, I want to share that in spite of all the heat that he's getting, he's done more than what Barack Obama did and was, praised for things that he should have done. And at the same time, he's dealing with a situation where we're dealing with the CDC of this country, which really never really address infrastructure issues, and due to their own incompetence, and also the CDC fundamentally is highly corrupt. They have a revolving door with pharma. Their entire emphasis is always on reactionary solutions, on vaccines and medical interventions, not really on promoting immune health, because either they don't understand immune health, because these guys are more interested in maintaining their positions, flying between pharma and their government positions. Let's assume we give them the benefit of the doubt that they're sort of incompetent. But today, hopefully, if they're listening, I want to educate them, because that's something that I enjoy doing, and that's really the service that I want to do. So today, we're going to talk about the immune system, and everyone here is going to learn it. And this is the most up-to-date information. We're not going to go into every little detail. We don't need to, but you're going to get a deep appreciation of the immune system. And then we're going to talk about what is actually going on and why this overreaction is going on, and that the real infection here is the fear and uncertainty that we need to overcome as an American family to get strong, to move forward. And the good news is that there's a lot of optimism that you're going to hear, and not only hope, but very practically what we need to be doing. And the coronavirus opportunity in some ways is a real opportunity for all Americans to really start focusing on immune health. What does it mean to have a healthy and resilient immune system? And this comes down to two factors we're going to talk about. What do you put inside your body or on your body? This is a decision that you can make. And the second thing is, what are we surrounded by? The air, the water, and the food. And this is an infrastructure issue with the lawyer lobbyists, horrible politicians that you keep electing, and you need to stop electing them. It's like making bad choices, have put into place a set of people who do not care for your health. And right now they're running around acting as though they care for you, closing down schools, shutting down, March Madness, etc., overreacting, and you're going to see that word come up, overreacting as an unhealthy immune system does, because they are corrupt, incompetent, and they do not care about your health. Some of you may know I, as a scientist, an inventor, and an educator, am running for U.S. Senate because I believe that it's time that you had one of you in the Senate. It's time that you had working people in the Senate. It's time that you have people who produce, who educate, who do things because they love what they do and they love this country working for you versus these completely horrible, I hate to say it, scumbag parasites, lawyer lobbyists. 60% of the United States Senate and House of Representatives is filled with people who do deals and want to stay there for life. And I make this promise to you, I'm going in there for one term to clean things up and to ensure that your voice is heard and we create a whole nother generation of young people who want to participate in politics for you. But let me start by explaining what the immune system is, okay? And broadly, in fact, let me start with the model of the immune system that many of these incompetent people learn, including many of the people in the CDC, many of the MDs and the pediatricians, because these people have big egos, but they frankly do not understand the immune system. And that's where we need to start. So let me share, let me transition over to this, and we're going to share with this diagram. And what you see in this diagram is a current model of the immune system. In fact, this model of the immune system is what is used by these people to promote the concept of vaccines being the only way to heal your body or support the immune system, which is absolutely not true. So first of all, what you see here is we have the innate immune system here, which is then integrates with the adaptive immune system to create antibodies. So let me explain it simply. In the conventional model of the immune system, in the conventional model of understanding the immune system, which 99% of doctors learn, they typically essentially learn these two-box model. Okay, they learn these two boxes. And in this two-box understanding, a pathogen, and what is a pathogen? Bacteria, viruses, allergens, interact with your innate immune system. Okay, so what is the innate immune system? Well, the innate immune system is the aspect of your body at the physical level, organ level, all the way down to the cellular level that interacts with these pathogens that come from the outside. Okay? So these are the things that come through your eyes. When people say don't touch your eyes, right? Through your mucosa in your nose, through your mouth, through your ears, through your skin, etc. Okay? And other orifices in your body. This is where these pathogens come. And when these pathogens come, they interact with what is called your innate immune system. The innate immune system is composed of, think about it as Marines, or the infantry. They just start going after and trying to engulf these pathogens to take them out very quickly. And they are non-specific. This includes things like neutrophils and macrophages. This is called the innate immune system. And the goal of that immune system is to knock things out quickly. And if things are working right, what happens is that occurs during the first 0 to 72 hours when you are experiencing some pathogen. And thereafter, what happens is the adaptive immune system kicks in. By the way, this is the old 50 to 600-year-old model of the immune system. And the adaptive immune system are sharpshooters. Those sharpshooters include T cells and B cells, and those T cells and B cells attempt to take out that particular pathogen by creating a particular antibody. Now, in a healthy individual, the innate kicks in. You don't even notice this. Maybe you get a little sniffle, don't feel that well. And the adaptive kicks in, and you create these antibodies. And next time you're exposed to that particular pathogen, you don't even notice it. Nothing really happens, okay? But the key point that I want to share with you here is this is the understanding of the innate and the adaptive immune system that is still used to promote the vaccination model. In this model of the immune system, the theory is that if you get those antibodies, you're fine, you can move on, and you're done, okay? So I hope that's clear. Now, what I want to now share with you is the research that I've been doing, and in fact, the work of many individuals over the last probably 50 years. And there's an emerging field which, with all humility, I'm considered one of the leaders in the field of systems biology, precision, and personalized medicine. And what that field came out in 2003, and the notion there was that each one of us is individual, and what one size does not fit all, and we need to figure out what the right medicine is for the right person at the right time. By the way, that's what my poor grandmother, who was a village healer who helped a lot of people, did in traditional systems of medicine. Not everyone got, even though they may have had the same disease, not everyone got the same medicine. It was tuned. So in the modern theory of the immune system, what emerges in the modern theory is very different than what I just shared with you. There are a lot more boxes to keep it simple. And what you see here is that you have the innate and we have the adaptive. However, there is something else between the innate and the adaptive. It's called the interferon system. The interferon system was a foundational set of work that I did for my PhD thesis. If you want to go search it, you can look it up on the MIT. If someone wants it, I'll send it to you. But my PhD thesis was building a new technology to really use the computer to model complex molecular reactions, phenomena such as inflammation and whole diseases. That was a breakthrough that my PhD did it, and that resulted in a company I run today called Cyto, which means cell and solve. And one of the deep interests I have is eliminating the need for animal testing, modeling these complex diseases, and finding out how combinations of things cause good things to occur and also cause bad things to occur. So synergistic effects of good things can support our health, or synergistic effects of lots of little toxins over time can hurt our health. But getting back, so that's Cytosolve, but in my work in Cytosolve, we have built what we call an architecture, and we take all of that knowledge that's coming out, and we built a much more comprehensive architecture of the immune system. So what you have is you have the innate immune system communicating to the adaptive immune system, and that interacts with what's called the interferon system. Now, the interferon system is really the missing link. A lot of the MDs and PhDs and the pediatricians don't even know this, but the interferon system is a whole nother system that upregulates all sorts of genes to interfere with viruses. This means our body is expecting pathogens and it trains itself to get stronger. But these three systems are not alone. There's a fourth system called the microbiome. I should really probably, I'm going to edit this. This system also includes what's called the virome, okay? The virome in this also includes the many, nearly 300 plus trillion viruses in your body. The microbiome is a bacteria, almost about 60 trillion bacteria in your body. We have about 6 trillion cells. So if you think about it, we are all not just the 6 trillion cells we have, which make up us, but we're also about 10 times that, about 60 trillion bacteria. And then, frankly, 60 times that, around 360 trillion viruses. All right? That's called the virome. So the reason I'm telling you is we already have hundreds of trillions of viruses in our body, tens of trillions of bacteria. And all of these things are actually supporting life within us and among other people.
See, right there already, that's where I'd have a problem already, Brian, is who is he to say we have 60 trillion? First of all, who is anybody to say that we have 60 trillion viruses in us? Who is anybody? And who took the time to count them all? You know what I mean? I'm quite sure there's nobody, including him and everybody else, who even with the assistance of a scanning electron microscope took the time to sit there and isolate and categorize 60 trillion.
I think he said 60 trillion bacteria and then 300 trillion viruses, supposedly.
Right.
But I think he probably uses a computer, or somebody has used a computer to extrapolate from, a petri dish full.
I don't know.
The whole person, I guess.
But that could be a flaw. That could be some adverse effect of the computer, seeing a cell that's kind of like if I remember when I was going live the other day and I faced my laptop to my desktop, and it's like a mirror in front of a mirror, so it goes mirrored, right? So for all we know, for all we know, when they use these devices and things to look at something, it's mirroring. It's going and making it look like there's 60 trillion or something. You know what I mean? We don't know. And how do they know? This is where I would drive professors crazy if I was a student at MIT or any other college, because I'd demand an answer to that. And most likely, they're not going to be able to give an answer to that. So there's an assumption right there. We have to take an assumption off of this guy. Great, he's got a PhD, he's from MIT, but he's making essentially preposterous statements that are unverifiable, essentially. And I'll present that to him and see what he has to say about it. But let's just make that point and I'll continue now. Okay.
All right.
When I shake your hand, I'm probably passing on to you hundreds of thousands or billions of viruses, okay? And this gets to one of the essential...
Which again, right there, even forget 100 trillion. Somebody recently, I don't know who it was, but somebody recently pointed out to me I think it was, they said 1 trillion seconds. 1 trillion seconds is 37,000 years. So for this guy to, forget 100 trillion, even to say a billion, I'm passing on. How does he know even that? How would he know it? Even that statement to say, I'm passing on to you billions of bacteria and viruses. It's a nonsensical statement. It's a non-provable statement. There's nothing that can prove in any way, shape, or form, unless again, they put somebody shaking hands under an electron microscope, and the electron microscope was actually following the hand energy of one person to the hand energy of the other person, and was, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. All right, let me continue.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say in the Wikipedia they say viruses are 500 times smaller than bacteria. So if viruses, however he defines them, that would mean there would be a lot of viruses compared to bacteria.
Sure. I mean, that made I was thinking about that when he said there's more viruses than bacteria, and they can all fit in us, right? Because they're smaller, 500 times smaller. So
right, a lot smaller. Yeah.
But again, it's an assumption to say there's trillions of bacteria and viruses. How do they know that? That's what I want to know off the cuff. Let's continue.
Right.
Essential points that I recently just tweeted out, the beginning of this day, a mistaken idea that the mainstream media, what I call the BSMSM 2020 bullshit media, mainstream media promotes, and this is where the hype comes from, as though it's the viruses that kill and harm us. So you're going to learn some factual science here. None of this is controversial. It's mere fact. It's not the viruses that kill and harm us, and we'll come back to that. But going back to this diagram, what you see here is the microbiome and the virome interact through the gut-brain axis to our neural system. So essentially, it's a much more complex system than this concept that was used to promote the 1962 vaccination program that Kennedy signed into law, and the mandates that many of these politicians are trying to remove to support big pharma. The reality is that the real understanding of the immune system is much more complex, which means when we are getting medical interventions, vaccines, or pharmaceutical drugs, it is affecting multiple subsystems, and it is not as simple as people think. So multiple things are involved. If you get a virus or a pathogen, the innate immune system kicks in, the interferon system, the adaptive, our microbiome, our virome, and all of these things are beautifully organized in a choreography. More importantly, the gut bacteria interacts through the gut-brain axis to our brain. So think about that. The gut and the brain are related. My gut and my brain are related, and this is important to understand, because what this means is what you eat, the exogenous stuff that are in the environment, toxins, good things affect our gut bacteria. And based on that balance, you have good mental health. Neuroinflammation can be caused by gut imbalances. So you are what you eat. You start thinking about your thoughts are a function of what you eat. This is very, very important to understand. And this is not some hocus pocus. This is what modern science is revealing. Okay? Now, having said that, let's talk a little bit about now, the key points of what I want to get to. Okay? First of all, viruses do not harm or kill us. Let me repeat that 3 times. Viruses do not harm or kill us. Viruses do not harm or kill us. Okay? In Wuhan, 11 million people were there. This virus is everywhere. In America, it's a couple of thousand people. Let's say you're saying the Chinese government's lying. I can guarantee you it's not 11 million people have died. A very small percentage. In America, based on the statistics today, about 40 people over the age of 40 have died. Okay? So why is it that not everyone in Wuhan, not everyone is falling dead? What is really going on? Okay? We will talk about what's going on in Italy. We will talk about the reality of the public health infrastructure incapable of handling the fact that we have a whole assortment of people in this world today who have underlying pre-existing conditions. To put it simply, they're unhealthy people. Their immune systems have been weakened and compromised by poor choices, lifestyle choices, as aging occurs, and they're immunocompromised, and by the fact that we have poisonous air, poisonous water, and poisonous food, horrible and decaying infrastructure in America. America got a D+ in infrastructure. Massachusetts, where MIT is, got an F- in infrastructure. Crumbling roads, crumbling bridges, 20-plus-year-old water systems. And the politicians are not able to address this. They don't call an emergency about that, but they're quick to call an emergency about this for political reasons and to act, to fake that they care about public health.
Yeah, well, I'll submit, and I wish I could submit it directly to him, that the reason for that, why are they quick to call emergency on this? Because this is all part of another whole thing that's taken place, which is simply, again, that they're looking to create a scenario by which they can use the exaggerations and the sensationalism and the fear-mongering and the panic and the global shutdown as a foundation for saying, wow, look how bad this was. Look how bad things can be. Look how bad a virus can just shut down things, turn things into a shamble. We cannot have this. We cannot afford this. Therefore, we've got the answer. We found the recipe. We've got the vaccine that will prevent this from happening again. And in order for you to do your patriotic duty, in order for you to be a responsible citizen, you need to go get your vaccine shot. It's the perfect.
We'll come and give it to you.
We're going to come and give it to you. It's the perfect, this is absolutely 100% the perfect scenario, the perfect foundation they have laid to establish government-mandated forced vaccinations. And that's just right, and that's just the first level of it. Right, that's just the first level of it. And I'll just throw it in as a tidbit. If we start getting into what does that mean, what is a vaccine, we start looking at nanotechnologies and how you can put a computer chip on the head of a pin. We're talking about, their big plan here is, hey, we can chip everybody and they won't even know it. We can put thousands of chips inside of a vaccine and pump it into people, and that way we can track them. We know where they're going. And for people that are down with it, they don't ever have to have a credit card again. They don't ever have to have a driver's license again. They don't ever have to have nothing, because you can just scan their body and there you know who they are, because they got the chips in them to say who they are. So it's a whole technological aspect associated with the forced vaccines. I submit that this is all relative to even the biblical. A lot of religious people out there, a lot of Christian people out there that have heard of the mark of the beast, 666, and so on. You won't be able to buy or sell. I submit this whole thing is relative to that, which is even another level, a third level. But the first initial level, directly to what he's saying, maybe he'll get into it, maybe he won't. We'll see where he's going with it. But to answer Mr. Shiva, is that this is laying down the perfect foundation for them to establish mandated vaccines. And mandated vaccines in the least case scenario, in the best case scenario, the least horrible, the least conspiracy theory oriented, the least bad way is at the minimum, so they can make billions of dollars more because you have to pay for your vaccine, right? At the very minimum, it's because, okay, you have to get a vaccine. Hey, we make millions of dollars more. It's like with, driving a car, right? I cannot get my tag unless I have insurance. So in other words, here, go pay for insurance. Now that you have your insurance, bring your insurance certificate over here and now pay me for your driver's license. Well, now let's put another level in there. Hey, what? You don't have a vaccination? Go get your vaccination, which you got to pay for. Get your vaccination certificate, which you got to pay for. And now take that vaccine certificate to get your driver's license, which you have to pay for. And then use your driver's license and your certificate of vaccination to go get your insurance that you got to pay for. And then you go with all those things to get your tag to your car. You see what I'm saying? It's all about more control over people and getting money from them, squeezing money out of them, having another way to squeeze money out of people. That would be and that would be at just the minimum, most, the friendliest way we could say it. See, just that alone, we don't even have to get into chips and nanotechnology and mark of the beast. Just that alone is bad enough. That it's another way to force people to have to do something in order to be able to move in society.
Well, I think they tried to do this back with the HIV/AIDS thing, but because it only dealt with the gay folk, not everybody got on board with it, so it kind of fizzled out. But
right.
I think it's a similar thing going on now, but for everybody. So
sure,
that's what.
Let me just add at this point for whoever's listening to this video: are you going to be a sheep or a cattle just herded through it with the herd and go get your shot, or are you going to go out of this world in a glorious hailstorm of righteous rounds, defending your person and your rights and your God-given sovereignty? That's the ultimate question. I know where I stand in it. All right.
Yeah.
Move on.
Okay.
They don't give a damn about public health, and you're going to realize from a scientific standpoint quite quickly. So let's go back to this. Viruses do not harm or kill us. It is the overreaction of a weakened and dysfunctional immune system to the virus that results in our own body attacking its own cells, tissues, and organs, resulting in harm and death. Okay? So think about that. It is not the virus that is killing even these 40 people, etc. It is the overreaction of the immune system. It is the overreaction of the immune system, because in the natural state, when your